with both the Kroll and the Rona didn't really work out that well because that is a lot of resources you have to dedicate to both of them. They're both extremely item dependent, and they need to get a lot of items under their belt before they really, have the level of impact in the late game. Obviously, early on, Kroll can make an impact if he's in the jungle with just a tension bow, but once you get a little bit later on, if you don't have 3-4 items on both of those heroes, they're not going to be able to have the same impact you would expect from 3v3.
Absolutely. Another Tony pick. I absolutely love the fact that we're getting so much gameplay out of the new heroes. Kind of seems like in the past, heroes have always been broken beyond belief and they're permanently banned, or they're super underwhelming. Tony seems like he's in a really good spot right now, especially given this new triple ban draft system that leaves a lot of room and a lot of opportunity for these teams to be picking him up. We've only seen him played in the captain role today. I would absolutely love to see him played as a laner. The amount of weapon power damage he can do in burst increments is absolutely nuts. And hopefully we're going to be able to see a little bit out of that. I think Rogue has some more intricate hero pools to the extent that they like to play things that are a little bit off meta. Nova still sticking very much with my understanding of the meta. They pick up the Fortress, and Rogue answers with the Sky.
Yeah, we've seen a Sky pick earlier that did very well with the slows coming out from the Frostburn. If you go Weapon Sky, you're going to have those same forward barrage slows. If you go for the Crystal, you can build that Frostburn and get those slows as well. So a lot of utility can be brought from the Sky. She's very good at taking turrets as well, and that's one of the big strengths of her, is being able to just move around team fights, position extremely well, and the turret focus is massive. But there's going to be another Churnwalker, so with Churnwalker on the fold and Tony there, looks like you might be getting your wish.
Yeah, absolutely. Churnwalker, definitely one of Evol's best heroes. Now, I don't expect to see him on it today. I still think he's going to be probably playing Celeste in that mid lane. But Churnwalker wasn't quite as successful as we had hoped in that last game, despite all of the AoE damage. Perhaps Rogue's going to have some better luck with it.
Yeah, and it's definitely, again, it's if you have the right playmaker on that Churnwalker, you can just demolish teams. We saw at the World Championship, even though that was 3v3, we saw what Max Green was able to do with that hero, constantly just setting up these huge stuns. Now you can multiply those stuns by 5 instead of just by 3. So there is definitely a massive potential to set up team fights for your squad, but it requires so much teamwork and coordination. Your shot calling has to be on point.
Absolutely. Nova picking up the Reza. Again, a great tool that a lot of teams are utilizing here today to try and get on top of the Celeste, who's going to be playing in the backline. I fully expect to see Lone Delphi playing that. He's a very good Reza, and with how much burst damage Reza has, it's something that Evol, if he's on the Celeste, is absolutely going to have to watch out for.
Ooh, a glaive coming through. When 5v5 first came out, when there was the first people starting to be able to play in the beta for it, before even early access, Glaive was the one hero everyone was talking about, saying Glaive was obscenely strong on 5v5. And obviously there were a couple of changes made to kind of bring him down a little bit so he's not as dominant. But the ability to go over virtually any wall on the map, the split pushing ability, the ability to just 1v1 targets is massive for this hero.
Definitely exceptional ganker. No laner is safe when Glaive is on the board. It's another new pick that we've seen here today, and definitely if Rogue is able to execute that as it's meant to be executed, that could give them a huge advantage in the early game up against Nova.
And another new pick for us today was the Adagio as the final pick to round out the composition. So there's a lot of new picks being brought out in North America. I think a lot more variety in the picks for North America, which kind of speaks to what you were saying before of, there isn't really a consensus of what's best to run here in North America, whereas Europe seemed a lot more defined. They seemed to have, all the teams kind of knew what they wanted to run, and it was all very similar.
And that worked out for some teams, and it didn't work out for others. So I guess we'll have to see what happens in this one. Well, now that we have our selections, I know you've already talked about the heroes a little bit, but is there anything that's jumping out to you, a potential strategy that might come into play, or a play style that's going to be used by one of these teams?
It's got to be the fact that Rogue, we haven't really seen this roster compete in a very long time. They've brought back a lot of former veteran players who can be very good and very strong, as well as some new faces as well. I believe this is Louis Vuitton's debut performance in the Vainglory 8. Super excited to see what he is able to bring to the table and if he's going to be able to keep up with some of these other pro players.
It better be fabulous with a name like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of hype around Louis, so there are a lot of teams were actually trying to get him. There were a lot of teams were looking at him to potentially add to their roster. So there was definitely some hype around him, and getting to see will he live up to that hype is going to be really fun for sure.
If you had to have a guess how this game's going to go, this particular matchup is going to go, who do you think is going to come out on top?
I'm going to have to go with the side of Nova Esports. I think Truth of Light and Starting All Over, they're essentially best friends in the Vainglory community. This is the first time that they've ever been on the same team together, and hopefully they've always been so mechanically skilled. If they can push each other as individuals and keep each other as individuals very motivated and disciplined, I fully expect them to do big things in 5v5.
How about you, Bacon?
I'm actually really liking the composition that Rogue has. I think there's a ton of burst potential. If they end up running this as a weapon Tony and potentially even a weapon Glaive, you can just get into lanes, gank them so effectively. There's nothing that a laner is going to be able to do. If a Glaive afterburns you into a Tony taunt, you are not escaping whatsoever. So
well, let's
there is
see
a
if
lot
that
of potential
happens.
for those
I am
combos.
so excited. We are going to jump into the game right now. Let's see if that gank happens. Let's see if that strategy happens.
All right, here we go. Final game of the day. And it is Rogue taking on Nova Esports. Dragonborn with me once again as we get things underway. A little bit of a different start to this game as everyone is in the mid lane instead of fighting over those treants.
Yeah, all pushed up here, all up in front here. Tasty, the final game. It has been a long day for you, sir, as you have been literally non-stop guiding us through every phase of the streams. Thank you so much for that.
There's a big skirmish happening right now. Eco and Starting All Over, both going to be going pretty low. That forward barrage nearly taking Starting All Over out. Not quite going to be enough damage there, but as they back away. Now you see Nova took advantage of the fact that all of Rogue were showing and went and stole some of the jungle away, but Rogue is now answering. They have a couple members in 3 quadrants of the jungle now as they try and make sure that they get the upper hand from this early trade.
Yeah, pretty even trade here. Like the gold's still neck and neck, so not a big difference here. That Yezus on the Sky. Wow, Sky is doing a lot of early game damage. Not necessarily famous for being the strongest early game hero, but that forward barrage, if you take so much of it right up in front like that. You saw Starting All Over almost drop. They almost got first blood, which has been a very pivotal, I think, a turning point for this. Really allowed Rogue even more flexibility as we get through some of these rotations here early. But in the top lane, that's where we'll typically see the Sky play. And I really think that this Rona has his work cut out for him. I mean, Rona has to make sure he just kind of dodges around, like you see Truth doing also well right now.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where it can be so difficult to lane against the Sky because you can be perfect in your position.
Really
you can be moving around constantly, but if you just slip up once, all of a sudden you're getting half of a forward barrage to the face and getting dropped to about a quarter health. So it's definitely a situation that can be difficult to play into. As you see right there, Truth getting dropped so low just from making the decision to go aggressive just once after he had been playing so well for the first couple minutes there of avoiding that damage.
Yeah, which he kind of was trying to do to help deny him some of the farm he was getting in the lane, push him away.
Well, that's a lot of damage onto Starting. He's going to be the target here. Interesting to see that they're using this Adagio in the mid lane. That's one of the picks that we haven't really talked about. We talked about the mid laners were going to be the Varia, the Scarf, the Samuel, and we didn't really talk about the fact that there still are other picks that can play in that mid lane, and Starting All Over showing us one of those right now.
Yeah, Rogue off to a pretty good start. They were winning the CS in the top and mid lane. The bot lane, though, a little bit closer as you start to see Reza's starting to come online here, evening it up.
In a lot of trouble. Sibs making this rotation up top.
He's got this.
Yeah, Truth's going to very likely go down here. The movement speed buff on the target lock is going to allow that first blood to come through just barely, though.
Just barely. He almost got away.
Yeah, that into the fray was in midair when he fell. But now Sibs could be getting chased down here by the Krull, and that's going to be a lot of damage. Sibs trying to use that taunt, trying to get that extra barrier. Is it going to be enough? The one more Spectral Smite will do it. Actually, it's going to get stolen away by Eco, jumping in at the last minute and grabbing himself a kill. So not really probably the best of situations, but it does get the gold onto at least 2 members instead of just on 1.
Right, first kill for Nova. You know, it's already been a pretty close game, but those 2 quick kills for Rogue, you have to be careful. First Blood does still give you that gold buff, gives you a little bit extra gold, and of course kills do matter in the sense they give you gold, but they also give you positioning. So you do want to keep things traded evenly for most of this game. The mid, though, I'm really concerned about starting all over. I mean, the Adagio facing up against the Celeste, it hasn't looked too great so far, and it's just like through the whole phase of this game, it's going to be a challenge that he's going to have to manage. I'm really excited to see the Adagio, though, in team fights. That's where we're going to see starting all over shine, when you start talking about the buff and that massive ultimate in those big lumped up fights.
Yeah, and not only that, but once he starts getting some items out, big engage, that's the tension bow proc onto Evol, eating a ton of damage. Solar Storm not quite going to go where he was hoping to, where he thought the fight was going to rotate.
I think he thought Rona was going to rotate around the bot side.
He was definitely expecting the fight
lane
to rotate a different direction, but doesn't quite work out for him. Still managed to stay alive, though. That was a massive burst of damage coming out from the Krull, and now looks like starting all over, rotating up top, helping out Truth. They find the kill. Excellent rotation from starting all over to get up there and make that happen.
That final auto attack, that's where Adagio is going to be so good, and of course, starting all over as a stutter-stepping master. This guy could literally just mechanically outplay almost everybody on the rise, and that's something you'll be really scary to see here. 3v3 could
another skirmish going on. It's going to be a lot of damage done onto Delphi, but he gets the heal thanks to the Spectral Smite. Not quite going to be enough. There's Louis Vuitton jumping in with that afterburn, able to find a kill. He's going to clear out a couple of those minions, make life a little bit more difficult for the members of Nova. But when they start to rotate away, I feel like they should really put pressure on, though. They have Eric Kane and Eco both very low. That's what they're going to try and do. The taunt doesn't quite hit, but an afterburn will get Louis in, taking a lot of damage from the turret, but they find the kill, and they're going to just back away happy with that for now.
Yeah, good push on the bot lane there, but of course leaving the top completely exposed. So Rona was able to rotate down and help out the mid. That Glaive, you know, almost didn't get that one kill, and Eco missed his afterburn at first and then did follow up. I mean, just super aggressive play by Louis Vuitton Don. That's a name, you know what, we haven't talked a lot about him. A new player in the competitive scene, but this guy has been just, he rose to the highest tier in Vainglory very quickly in 3v3 and then immediately just absolutely a monster in 5v5.
Get taunted. He uses the Netherform detonation, knowing that the afterburn was coming right on his heels. So excellent heads-up play there by Eric Kane in order to avoid going down and getting caught in a bad position. Now all of Nova is rotating over as the Ghost Wing spawns. I love seeing teams make these rotations down, you know, just to be there when an objective is present on the fold so that they can contest it immediately, maybe even try and take it. This is spotted by that scout cam for the side of Rogue. But are they going to try and make a rotation over? They know it's going down pretty slowly. Now here comes the rotation so that they can try and fight for this at the end. Some chains going out from the Churn Walker. Going to try and get a couple of members of Nova locked up.
Really
here
risky.
comes
Ghost Wing.
Ghost Wing does get secured by the it was actually the Spectral Smite that secured it, starting all over, throwing out a Verse of Judgment just in case someone tried to come in to steal it. They would have been getting caught up.
All right, well, this was going to allow Nova to reset their lanes, I think. I mean, you know, they're not looking to, it doesn't look like they're going to be pushing down like as a 4-man or anything. That's really the only thing we saw coming out of like an EU team or in the case of Tribe, just dominating and pushing all those turrets down. But it's going to allow them to reset the lanes and push up a little bit. It looks like they might get this turret here.
They're going to pay for it, though. That's one kill onto Truth. Now they're having to run away. They don't actually get the turret taken down. However, they got to pay attention to the side lanes and see how much work they're able to make there. You do have Delphi up in the top lane, uncontested for now, but Sky is making her way over. Delphi should be able to take that turret down, will do so. Meanwhile, down bottom, Erica Kane going toe-to-toe with Louis Vuitton Don, and kind of going even there. Neither of them really able to get a lot of damage onto each other to stick. So good job again by Nova, just sort of resetting things a bit. But Evil and the rest of Rogue looking to put pressure onto mid. Evol's going to be the target though, as he gets nice block on the taunt. He's taking so much damage. Great stun to keep himself safe. And look at how much health he still has. Throws a Solar Storm that doesn't quite connect, and it is a kill for Nova. And now they're going to continue chasing on, looking for a second. They take down the Turnwalker. Evil, last man standing here in this mid lane. Has a couple of low health bars on the opposite side, but can he find the kills? They're just going to go diving right on in. Tension Bow proc, chunking his health down so effectively. He's still alive, though, and that's all that matters.
Heal from starting all over kept him in that. It was really impressive. I'm surprised you didn't notice this. Happened like 30 seconds ago. The triple scout cam in the bush at the same time. Communication on vision, probably something we'll see develop as we go on through 5v5 through this preseason. Nice kill.
Yeah, that's just not really much that Sky could do there. A 3-on-1 situation. You're generally not going to be able to get away. Pushed up, tried to get a little bit of pressure onto the turret, but unfortunately just got caught out and taken down. And there's that triple scout cam you were talking about, Dragonborn. Yeah, definitely not an ideal situation.
Definitely not.
As Louis Vuitton, he's going to be caught out. He's not going to be able to get that kill. He wanted to try and take starting all over out, wanted to try and get that stun, but unsuccessful. Evil trying to help out his team kiting away, but it looks like it should be Nova taking another kill. Nether Form detonation will secure that one. Maybe a little excessive, but with starting all over and Eco both going low, want to just make sure they got that kill before things went on too much longer. And Nova currently up 7-5 in terms of the kills. They were down in gold early, but they have brought it back and now have themselves a 2,000 gold lead.
No, absolutely. Pushing in here. All 5 members of Nova are ready to just ram down this thing. They're going to get the turret, so the first mid turret here, and that's 2 turrets.
Deep. He's going to take a lot of damage from the second turret in the mid lane. And in fact, it's actually going to be Erica Kane that drops here. So all of a sudden, Rogue looking to maybe push up. Evil is low, but he's not going to be too concerned. He's actually done a really good job of surviving. Hasn't been, quite on point with some of his abilities. The Solar Storms have been going wide, but he has managed to keep himself alive in these fights, and that's going to allow him to scale up, get even more damage. Here comes the aggression from Delphis. They try and get in onto Evil again. Evil kiting beautifully with the rest of his team, and Louis Vuitton Don, a triple kill on the glaive. A beautiful fight from Rogue.
Absolutely. They caught starting all over on the Adagio out, started to put damage on him. He had to use his ultimate, the Verse of Judgment, but there was nobody around, right? So it was just there for the barrier. He eventually goes down with the Adagio out. That's a lot of DPS just taken away from Nova right off the bat, able to finish it off. And again, of course, you're talking about what Sibs can do and what Louis Vuitton can do. Just jumping into and engaging fights is really game-changing, and they made it right there.
It's also the AoE potential that can come out from the side of Rogue. Between a Celeste, a Sky, Glaive, and Churnwalker, you saw they just melted through the entirety of Nova all in one go. And that was, just, again, a beautiful fight as they now catch out a great afterburn. It's going to be the detonation, not going to be doing much at all other than delaying for a second or two the inevitable. And now Rogue, just like that, just almost like a snap of a finger,
it was
going so aggressive now. They win that team fight. They take the Ghost Wing. They're now into the base of Nova, taking down an armory. And Nova's going to try and fight this, but everyone on Rogue is just about full health. They're all grouped up. That's not what you want to do against the Churnwalker Celeste. They are just melting here, and Rogue find another kill. Now they're going to finally finish off this armory, back away as they know that some other respawns are coming through, but so Rogue just dominating.
This whole time, starting all over, and I don't know if this is the right call because, you just allowed your team to lose an armory, but he's pushing up this turret, forcing a recall. I don't know if he's going to get the turret. It's very close. Not going to get an armory, and now he's actually really caught out. I think he's just going to take the death, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, they did get the turret. The minions took the turret down. I don't disagree with that call. I don't think having starting all over in the base would have prevented the armory from going down in that situation. So getting as much as you can in return, it was still a 4-on-5 defense for the team. I have no problems with that decision. They at least get something out of that. Whereas if starting all over's in the base, they don't likely turn that fight around. They don't likely prevent the armor from going, and they instead end up with nothing. So I like the decision there from Nova and starting all over to go and at least take
once he
something.
made the decision, like, commit to it, so he did, right? All right, I'm going to die. I'm just got to get that turret taken out here. And so committing to that decision was the right call. Thankfully, not losing the game here. And there was actually one point where he was going to recall, but as soon as they pushed back, as soon as that armory went down, he stayed. He realized he couldn't save the armory.
Yeah, so now Rogue looking to push up through the mid lane. You see Nova, Delphi especially, and Truth trying to come around the side, but they get spotted. That's the vision, how important vision is. If they're not spotted there, this could have gone very bad, but now the fight is breaking out. You see a lot of damage on to Truth and Delphi. It's actually Erica Kane that ends up falling first. Great focus from the side of Rogue. A nice bada boom, but it's going to be Glaive picking up a couple more kills. Another triple kill for Louis Vuitton. They're going to chase some more. He's not going to get the quadra, but he's going to help secure the ace. And Rogue with another decisive team fight victory. 5 for 1. And now they can take down this mid turret. Very likely even get another armory if they really want to stick around. But it looks like they're going to back off, go for one of those dragons.
I think it's the right call here. I mean, you're still early on in the game. You have a composition that is going to continue to scale really well, and you've got this sizable lead. You've just expanded your gold lead up to about 5,000, and with this Ghost Wing buff, you can start talking about that Black Claw that's going to be coming out.
I was going to say, the timing of it as well. They're going to finish off this Ghost Claw, or this Ghost Wing, as the Black Claw is spawning. So they can immediately just rotate up to Black Claw with the buff, with that barrier, and try and take down another objective, or they just force another fight. They've been winning every single team fight decisively. Louis Vuitton has been amazing on this Glaive. A great KDA for him to start off this preseason thus far, and we'll see if they can get anything else here. As now Rogue in position, they're going to start up this Black Claw. This is a situation where they have vision control of the area. They don't even need to commit to this Black Claw. They can just force Nova to have to come and try and make an answer. That's exactly what it looks like they're trying to do. They're trying to just bait Nova over to force a team fight. You also are going to have those minions pushing into the base. You can see multiple members of Nova just had to recall to clear out those minions in their base. This is essentially going to be a free Black Claw unless a great steal comes through, but there's no vision in the pit for the side of Nova. They have no idea how low it is. Free Black Claw going over to Rogue, and with only the armory in mid, this is going to be an incredibly difficult defense.
Yeah, I mean, they had good surrounding vision. In fact, if anything, Rogue was a little weak on their vision around the pit. So, but I think they felt like they just had such good control of the lane. The lanes were all pushing that they didn't have to risk it. Like, it was really a fight that they were going to win.
Pushing, and they saw multiple members in the base defending against those minions. But now here we go. The Black Claw getting onto that armory. There's going to be a dive in there, but it's Delphi going extremely low. He's very durable, but the kiting backwards from Rogue is on point. Whoa. A great Solar Storm from Evil just rips through Nova, and this is going to be the game as they find 3 kills in the blink of an eye, and they push on through to the Vein Crystal. Rogue turning up the heat as they are looking to finish this game off. The Vein Crystal is falling, and Rogue will take the final game of our opening day of preseason action. A phenomenal performance from the side of Rogue. You know, it was very close, a very even matchup in the early game. But once that Ghost Wing fight happened, once Rogue got that first team fight victory, it was like they just flipped the switch and started just destroying